There's a moment that's coming for you. Maybe it hasn't happened yet, but it will. You'll be sitting alone, scrolling through your phone at 2 a.m., watching people your age build empires while you can't even finish the goals you set last month. And a terrifying thought will creep into your mind. What if I'm just not built for this? What if some people are meant to achieve great things and I'm not one of them? That moment will either break you or it will wake you up to the truth about how change really works. Because everything you think you know about transformation is wrong. What you're about to learn will fundamentally shift how you think about success, growth, and becoming the person you're meant to be. This isn't some complex strategy that requires you to completely overhaul your existence. This is something so simple that most people overlook it entirely. But when you understand this principle, really understand it, staying stuck becomes impossible. Here's the reality. You're not stuck because you lack motivation. You're not stuck because you're lazy or undisciplined or broken. You're stuck because you're trying to make changes that are too big for your brain to accept. Today, you're going to discover a different way. The way that actually works. Picture this scenario. You decide you want to transform your life. What do? You create this massive plan. You're going to wake up at 5 a.m., work out for 2 hours, read for an hour, meditate, eat perfectly, work on your goals, learn new skills, and somehow become this perfect version of yourself overnight. How long does that last? A week? 3 days? Sometimes not even that. And then you destroy yourself mentally. You tell yourself you don't have willpower. You don't have discipline. You're just not the type of person who achieves big things. But here's what you need to understand. This approach is designed to fail. Your brain is wired to resist massive change. When you try to become someone completely different overnight, your mind perceives that as a threat. It fights you, it creates resistance, overwhelm, anxiety. It's like trying to turn a massive ship. The bigger the turn, the more resistance you encounter. But there's another way, a way that works with your brain instead of against it. What if instead of trying to make massive changes, you made changes so small that your brain doesn't even register them as threats? Changes so tiny that it's literally impossible to fail at them. Think about it this way. If someone asked you to run a marathon tomorrow, your mind would immediately start listing all the reasons you can't do it. But if someone asked you to walk to the end of your street, you wouldn't even think twice about it. This same principle applies to everything in your life. You want to get in shape? Don't commit to working out for 2 hours. Commit to doing 1 push-up, literally 1. You want to read more? Don't commit to reading for an hour. Commit to reading 1 page. You want to build something meaningful? Don't commit to working on it for 5 hours. Commit to writing 1 sentence, making 1 call, taking 1 small action. Here's what happens when you complete that 1 tiny action. Your brain releases dopamine. You feel successful. You build evidence that you're the type of person who follows through on commitments. And here's where it gets interesting. When you do 1 push-up, your brain often says, that wasn't so bad. Maybe I could do another one. When you read 1 page, you frequently find yourself reading 2 or 3. When you take 1 small action, momentum starts building. But even if you don't do more, even if you literally just do the 1 tiny thing, you're still winning. Because you're building the most important foundation of all, consistency. Every time you follow through on a tiny commitment to yourself, you're strengthening your identity as someone who keeps their word. And identity drives everything. Most people focus on outcomes. They want to lose 30 pounds, make 6 figures, find perfect relationships, but outcomes are largely outside of your control. What you can control are your inputs, your daily decisions, your tiny actions. And when you focus on making tiny improvements consistently, something extraordinary happens. Those improvements compound. Let me show you how powerful this really is. Someone who struggles with reading decides to read just 1 page per day. They think it's insignificant. But after a year of reading 1 page daily, they've read more books than in the previous 5 years combined. Not because they forced themselves to read more, but because they made it impossible to fail. Someone who wants to build confidence doesn't try to become confident overnight. They make 1 small decision each day that a confident person would make. After months of these tiny decisions, their entire identity shifts. Someone who wants to build wealth doesn't try to become rich immediately. They save $1. Learn 1 thing about money. Take 1 small action toward increasing their income. These tiny decisions compound into financial freedom. The compound effect of these micro decisions is absolutely incredible. But here's the part most people miss. It's not just about what you do. It's about what you don't do. Every moment of your day, you're making micro decisions that either move you toward the person you want to become or away from them. When you choose to keep scrolling instead of putting your phone down, that's a decision. When you choose convenience over discipline, that's a decision. When you choose comfort over growth, that's a decision. And just like positive decisions compound, negative decisions compound too. One day of procrastination won't ruin your life, but 365 days of it will completely alter your trajectory. The beautiful truth is, once you understand this, you realize you have incredible power. Every single moment is an opportunity to make a tiny decision that moves you in the right direction. You don't need motivation. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to make one tiny decision that the person you want to become would make. Then another one. Then another one. That's the entire secret. It sounds too simple because we live in a world obsessed with dramatic transformations and overnight success stories. But extraordinary results come from ordinary actions repeated consistently over time. The person who transforms their body didn't do it through one massive workout. They did it through thousands of tiny decisions to choose movement over stillness. The person who builds something meaningful didn't do it through one brilliant moment. They did it through thousands of tiny decisions to keep showing up even when progress felt invisible. The person who develops unshakable confidence didn't wake up that way. They built it through thousands of tiny decisions to act despite their fear. Here's what you need to understand right now. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not missing some special gene that successful people possess. You have simply been approaching change in a way that's designed to fail. But today that changes. Today you understand that the gap between who you are and who you want to become isn't crossed through one giant leap. It's crossed through tiny steps taken consistently over time. The person you want to become, that confident, successful, fulfilled version of yourself, they're not some distant fantasy. They're one tiny decision away. Right now, in this moment, you can make one small choice that moves you toward them, and then another, and another. Each tiny decision is a vote for the person you're becoming. When you accumulate enough votes, your identity shifts. You stop trying to become that person and start being that person. When this video ends, you have a choice to make. You can go back to trying to make massive changes that your brain will resist, setting yourself up for another cycle of failure and self-doubt. Or you can apply what you've just learned. Pick one area of your life where you want to see change. Just one. Identify the smallest possible action you could take today that would move you in that direction. Make it so small that you literally cannot fail at it. Maybe it's doing one push-up. Maybe it's reading one page. Maybe it's writing one sentence. Maybe it's organizing one small space. Whatever it is, do it right now. Not because it's going to transform your life overnight. It won't. But because it's going to prove that you're the type of person who follows through. It's going to build momentum. It's going to start a compound effect that will create results that seem impossible from where you are right now. The extraordinary life you want isn't built through extraordinary actions. It's built through ordinary actions done extraordinarily consistently. And it starts with one tiny decision. You have everything you need inside you right now. You don't need to wait for motivation. You don't need perfect circumstances. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to start. One tiny decision at a time. The person you're meant to become is waiting on the other side of consistency. Now go show the world who you really are.